The cost of insulin has skyrocketed since 2002, and this really shouldn't be the case because the patent for the drug expired a really long time ago. So what should be happening is that consistently the prices for insulin go down. However, conspicuously, all the drug companies that manufacture insulin, they all seem to raise the price at the same time. So this kind of reeks of collusion. It seems as though they're engaging in a really shady practice known as shadow pricing, where they all agree to fix the price of a drug and then raise the price of a drug all at the same time, so that way the people who depend on this drug, they have no choice but to buy the drug at the really high price. It's a grotesque tactic that pharmaceutical companies do, and Bernie Sanders is onto them, and he wants an investigation to determine whether or not they actually are engaging in this really disgusting practice. So PBS explains, in his latest attack on the pharmaceutical industry, Senator Bernie Sanders has asked the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission to investigate 3 insulin makers for price collusion. In a letter sent Thursday, Sanders and Representative Elijah Cummings referred to a pattern in which prices for insulin sold by Eli Lilly, Sanofi, and Novo Nordisk often rose in tandem over several years. The lawmakers expressed concern that the drug companies may have been coordinating their pricing and, as a result, driving up the cost for millions of Americans, including both patients and taxpayers. Their letter cited a recent analysis that found the cost of insulin more than tripled, from $231 to $736 a year per patient between 2002 and 2013. Meanwhile, since 2009, the lawmakers pointed to 13 instances in which the prices of Sanofi and Novo Nordisk insulin brands rose in lockstep. They said Lilly did the same. The practice is known as shadow pricing and was first reported by Bloomberg News. The original insulin patent expired 75 years ago. Instead of falling prices, as one might expect after decades of competition, 3 drug makers who make different versions of insulin have continuously raised prices on this life-saving medication, the lawmakers wrote. In numerous instances, price increases have reportedly mirrored one another precisely. Now, the companies that actually sell insulin, well, they heard about this accusation and they were just outraged. They thought, us? Come on, have we ever been known to rip someone off? It's not like we're profitable or anything. I mean, I just think it's funny that they're outraged at this accusation when it's very plausible when they've done this before. Drug companies rip people off all the time, and they are consistently rewarded for it. So just to give you an example as to how this is the case, in 2016, the pharmaceutical industry was among the top 10 most profitable industries, according to FactSet. And do you want to know where they sat on this list? They sat at the top. Number 1, so generic pharma raked in 30% net profit, and this was just in 2016 alone, and name brand pharmaceutical companies saw a 25.5% increase overall. We're talking about billions of dollars in profits just in 1 year. So forgive us for being skeptical when you claim that you're not engaging in shadow pricing. You're all choosing to raise the price on this life-saving medication at the same time. That way there's no competition and consumers are forced to buy it. They have no choice but to be gouged by you guys. And to me, I feel like this is a special kind of evil because you're not raising the prices on food, which would still be horrible. You're not raising the prices on technology. You're raising the prices on a drug that people depend on to live. I mean, if you're someone with type 1 diabetes and you've had it for a while, you probably couldn't go as long as 2 weeks without insulin. So they're giving people no choice. There's no competition. They're making sure that there's no competition. They're raising the prices and they're telling these people effectively that if you don't pay this extra price, you're going to die. Too bad. Deal with it. And then when we call them out, they say, well, how dare you lodge these accusations against us? This type of greed is incomprehensible. And the CEOs of these drug companies, I don't know how they sleep at night. I really don't. This is you have to be really evil as a person. You have to be really shitty as a human being to sleep at night after your company is working in tandem with other companies to raise the prices of people who have to have this drug. The U.S. government should be fighting these companies. We should be negotiating with drug companies like Canada does to bring the prices of prescription drugs down. But they don't want to do that because they donate to the politicians. They bribe politicians. And in turn, we continue to be ripped off. It's so sickening. I mean, we live in a really sick society where we put profit over the lives of people who depend on these medicines. It's so gross. Like, this is disgusting to me. Again, I don't know how the CEOs of these companies sleep at night. Record profits, and you can't bring down the prices on drugs that people need to survive. It's deplorable.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.